There is a moment that happens to many people when the day becomes quiet and there is nothing left to distract the mind. Suddenly, memories begin returning without warning. A conversation from earlier in the day appears again. Something you said, something someone else said, a small moment that seemed unimportant at the time suddenly becomes the center of attention inside your thoughts. Part 69 explores the psychology behind why the human mind often replays the past and why some people experience this much more intensely than others. The human brain is built to learn from experience. Every event we live through becomes information the brain can analyze in order to improve future decisions. Because of this, the brain does not simply record experiences like a camera. It examines them, evaluates them, and tries to extract meaning from them. For many people, this process happens quietly in the background without creating much awareness. But for reflective and analytical individuals, this process becomes much more active. Instead of briefly reviewing the past, their mind may replay certain moments repeatedly, searching for deeper understanding. One of the main reasons the mind replays the past is unfinished interpretation. When something happens that the brain does not fully understand, it continues returning to the memory in order to analyze it again. A simple conversation might contain subtle emotional signals that were not clear at the time. Later, the brain begins asking questions. Why did that person react that way? Did my words mean something different to them? Did I miss an important detail in that moment? The mind revisits the event because it is trying to complete the puzzle. Part 69 also explores the role of emotional memory. Experiences that contain strong emotions are stored more vividly in the brain than neutral events. If a moment involved embarrassment, disappointment, regret, or confusion, the brain treats it as important information for future survival. Because of this, emotionally charged memories often return more frequently. The brain wants to analyze them carefully so that similar situations can be handled differently in the future. What may feel like overthinking is often the brain attempting to learn from emotional experiences. Another reason the mind replays the past is pattern recognition. The brain constantly searches for patterns that help predict future outcomes. When a past situation seems similar to something happening in the present, the mind retrieves the memory and begins analyzing it again. This process helps the brain decide how to respond to current situations. If someone behaved in a certain way before, the brain may review that memory to understand what might happen next. This ability to detect patterns helps humans navigate complex social environments. Part 69 also highlights the connection between reflection and intelligence. People who think deeply often replay past experiences more frequently because their brain naturally examines situations from multiple perspectives. They may imagine how the event looked from the other person's point of view. They may consider what different choices might have produced different outcomes. This reflective thinking allows them to gain insights about relationships, communication, and personal growth. But it can also make certain memories difficult to release. Another psychological factor behind replaying the past is the desire for closure. When a situation ends without clear resolution, the mind continues returning to it in search of answers. Unfinished conversations, misunderstandings, unresolved conflicts. These moments remain active in memory because the brain does not feel that the situation has been completed. The mind revisits the event again and again, hoping to find a version of the story that finally makes sense. Part 69 also explores the role of imagination in memory. The brain does not simply replay events exactly as they happened. It often imagines alternative possibilities at the same time. What if I had said something different? What if I reacted differently in that moment? What if the outcome could have changed? These imagined scenarios can make the memory feel even more vivid because the mind is not only remembering the past, but also reconstructing it with new possibilities. Another important element is self-evaluation. Many people replay the past because they care deeply about their behavior and relationships. They want to know whether they acted in the best possible way. This internal review process can lead to growth and improved decision-making. By examining past experiences, the brain identifies patterns of behavior that can be improved in the future. However, when the mind becomes stuck in the same memory repeatedly, it may stop producing useful insight and instead create unnecessary mental pressure. Part 69 also addresses the emotional weight of regret. Regret often appears when someone believes they could have made a better choice. The mind returns to the past moment because it wants to understand how the mistake happened. While this reflection can sometimes help people learn, it can also create the illusion that the past can still be changed. The brain keeps analyzing the event as if another solution might still exist, even though the moment has already passed. Another reason memories return frequently is personal meaning. Events that shape our identity often remain active in our thoughts for long periods of time. Important conversations, turning points in relationships, moments of emotional realization. These memories become reference points for how we understand ourselves and how we interpret the world around us. The brain returns to them because they help define who we are. Part 69 moves toward an important realization. Replaying the past does not mean someone is weak or unable to move forward. In many cases, it reflects a mind that cares deeply about understanding experiences and learning from them. The past will always exist as part of memory, but it does not have to control the present. The mind replays certain moments because it wants to understand them. Once understanding appears, the memory often loses its urgency. Instead of returning as an unanswered question, it becomes a lesson that quietly shapes future decisions. And when that happens, the mind no longer needs to replay the past again and again, because the meaning of the experience has already been found.